Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I have this Lord Marshal Dreir model for Death Courts of Krieg, and the goal was to be able to magnetize the bases so that I can move it from a standard, I think it's like a 60mm oval to an 80mm round, which Lord Solar is on. So theoretically, if you wanted to run both of them, you could just pop the model off and put them on a new base and it would magnetize and it'll work. So that's what we're gonna do today. So here I have my two bases. These are printed out with my 3D printer, and I'm going to show you a way you don't have to do it also, but really quickly I wanted to show you how you can inlay magnet holes through a slicer and blender. So if you aren't interested in printing, here's the time code here if you want to skip to just the next part. So here we are in Chitubox. I have the pro version. I believe you can do this in the free also, but all we're really going to do is load in a cylinder model. I have one just already saved on my computer, but if you wanted to find one, you can just go and Google it online. Just put cylinder STL in, and right here, first hit is from Printables, which is a free download. You just download it like this. All we're really trying to do is get a shape that we can bevel into our base to make a hole. So I'm gonna get it to the right size. I usually do 10 to give myself a little wiggle room. My magnets are a little smaller. Just going to select the bottle, and we're gonna inlay it into the base. Generally, you just want to have a decent bit of base left over underneath this magnet. About a millimeter is enough plastic that you shouldn't have any issues with it. After that, after everything is in place, I'm just going to scroll over to the Boolean option, and all I need to do is just select the base as A and the magnet as B, hit the difference, and then it'll take out my inlay. Pretty simple. Most slicers have this function, but if you don't have this on you, you can use Blender too, which is a great tool to learn. With this, really, we're doing the same thing. With Blender, we can just add the mesh though ourselves. So if we needed a cylinder, we can just add it through Add, Mesh, and Cylinder, and it pops in there. We hit the S key to scale, and then we can click in whatever size we want also. So I'm going to use 5mm here for this one, and you can easily right click and center all objects by going set origin to origin, and it'll set you right to the middle of the screen, so you can basically put the two models right on top of each other where they need to be, because we want to center these as best as we can. And then with Blender, it gives us a 3D look at the picture so we can see how far the inlay of the cylinder is going, so we can give ourselves enough room. Now to do it with this, if we want to add a boolean on Blender, all we have to do is go to the gear icon on the right, go down to generate boolean. It's the same kind of thing. We need to just select the base and the cylinder correctly, and then we hit apply, this little check button, and hit apply, and that will take the boolean off, and we will have a hole in our base. So now moving on to our model, here is Lord Marshal Dreir. He is fully assembled. I just did not glue him down to anything. The goal here is to fill this cavity in with something that I could stick my magnets to. A pretty lightweight thing is actually hot glue, and it's cheap at the same time. So really what I'm doing here is I'm literally just filling this cavity in as much as I can with hot glue, and I'm not coming up to the edge yet though. I'm coming right before I get to the edge of kind of the plastic of the model, and I'm filling in a good portion of this. I'm not getting every cavity. I don't need to. I don't need to completely fill this space, but I just need to fill in something that I can glue onto. Now, while the hot glue is hot, I can actually stick my magnet in, and it'll stick there kind of good. Now, again, this is not going to be the seal, because eventually I feel like this magnet would rip off. Here I'm just dry testing it to the base already, seeing everything lines up. And I have one magnet in as is, so I'm going to put one more magnet because I have enough space to put two. give myself a little extra space. I'm going to use UV resin all around the sides of the magnets and the rest of the open cavity from the hot glue to fill in all those crevices. It works pretty well. Once cured, it's pretty solid and it has no issues. But I thought it would be nice because it's a little better than super glue, and it would fill in all those nooks and crannies from the hot glue that I used. And with my UV torch, I'm just going to cure the whole area. Again, you know, the cavity of this base is not completely filled in with resin and hot glue, but there's enough that it gave me the height I needed, but also the resin will make a rock hard seal. It's not going anywhere. If there's any extra resin on the magnets, I'll just use my knife to clear it off. I want a nice flat seal, and this worked perfect. It sticks to both bases easily. Now that I have my bases set up with their magnets, I'm just going to use a mix of water, spackle, dry spackle powder, sand, and a little PVA glue, and I'm just going to work some texture paste onto my bases. I'm going to have a little overflow on the plastic of the Dreir model, but again, nothing crazy. I'm just looking to get a little bit of texture here on the base. The rest of this army is set in kind of like a trench, muddy field, so this is what I'm going to do for this. Next, once everything's dried, I hit it with a coat of primer, and now I'm just gluing some bits on. These bits actually come from a bunch of different places, but most of them are from the Grimguard trench terrain pack. A bunch of bits of like drums and tank spikes, and I just want to make a little carry over the feel that I have from the rest of this army. Nothing crazy. I'm just gonna super glue stuff down in in somewhat of a design. After everything is done, I'm going to prime everything and start painting. I'm going to start off with the horse skin. So here's my skin gradients. Start with a dark rose. I do most of the skin with an airbrush, but it can be done with a brush. I just was kind of blowing through this, so I just give everything a nice base coat of dark rose. Then I go right to my brown rose, and I just kind of focus this on the higher parts of the muscle and some of the higher parts of the horse in general. This is pretty much a pretty standard basic Caucasian skin tone mix here, but it was going to work really well for this horse that doesn't have any hair. Next, I'm going to move on to Dreir himself with my blues here, and I start off with a deep green, like a sea green, which I think it gives a nice base for the Krieg blues, which is kind of more of like a wolf gray at the top, like a blue gray. But I like this transition. I'm just gonna be very careful with my overspray. I do get some on the horse, but I kept it pretty light, so I'm able to go in and fix it with a brush after. And all we're really doing here is just working these colors up gently, getting a nice gradient, focusing more and more on the high points where the light would be hitting, the shoulders, the arms, the tops of the legs, and hitting some of the fabric with some texture and some light difference. I'm going to hit a few browns here for my base coats of all my leather. It's a mix of dark browns moving up to a mid-tone brown, and I'm just going to base coat all of the leather parts and the saddle, and there's gloves, there's boots, all kinds of stuff. Before anything else, I just need to hit the metallics. I use a mix of like a dark lead belcher mixed in with some more black ink. I like a dark metal on this and build up from there. It has nice, it flows nice off the brush and it has great coverage. After my wash stage, I basically just used a dark brown wash over everything. I'm just going to reestablish a lot of the highlights and the colors that I need. So I'm going to start off with a dry brush, right back to my brown rose color, and I'm going to just kind of poke and retexture the horse skin. Nothing crazy. We're going to use a lot of brush work on this, so this is just a start. I also do some light dry brushing on the leathers and some of the larger straps and saddlebags to give them a little bit of edge highlighting and texture. It's pretty easy and simple to just start off this way. Same thing with the coat. I had this brush out, so I just did a little bit, but the brush, you know, you kind of need to use a normal brush for some of these parts because there isn't that much space in between the elements. So I'm going to move on to a normal brush and really start to work on my highlights. I'm doing big chunky, like gray-blue highlights here. And I'm just trying to keep the contrast pretty stark with all my highlight colors here. Next, I'm just going to highlight the rest of my colors, my reds, my metallics, anything else on the horse that needs a coat. I'm going to go one step higher than the base coat that I have. And I'm also going to try to texture a little bit here and there. Nothing crazy, basically just moving the brush around with a stippling motion, but also hitting the edges. Now I just need to work on, again, more metallics, more skin, just constantly bringing up the highlights of each part of the model that need to be brought up. It also adds to the overall contrast of the model very well. One of the last steps I wanted to do here was actually curl some barbed wire up to go in between my two tank spikes. So I just basically wrap them around a dry brush handle to give myself a little spiral, and I just glue this in place in between the tank spikes. Now we go to our weathering step. I use a mix of like a Grim Rust texture paint with some rust pigment powders and a bunch, actually a few like flat earth. I use a dark color too for pigment. I basically just keep mixing them in my palette to get different shades of pigment color. I also water these down with some airbrush thinner. It gives me a nice flow, but also it will adhere nicely to the model when dry. And I basically work around the base, giving it a few different spots to put texture, to put rust. I definitely want to hit a lot of rust on the barbed wire. Anything that's close to the ground needs rust because there's going to be a lot of water splatter. But I basically just work around with all these pigments and different colors, kind of mix them together, put them on different things, and really give some good weathering to this base. And there you have it. I think a pretty effective model. Granted, nothing mind-blowing here. I think the paint job came out really good, and the base looks great. And I really had a good time with weathering this whole army. But yeah, the whole point with this whole thing was the whole point of this video was to basically show you how you can easily fill in the cavity, put a magnet in there, and then make this model easy to convert if you're interested in running it as a Lord Solar or a Lord Marshal Dreir. If you liked the video, like, share, comment. Let me know if you liked the model, if you didn't like the model. I'd like to hear from you either way. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.